Hello, Herkimer County. This is Michele Hummel with the Herkimer County Chamber of Commerce with our producer, Dave Warner.
Hello, how you doing today?
Very well. It's a gorgeous day outside.
Oh my God, it's beautiful out there, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't beat it. We've been fortunate this summer.
No, we haven't. We've had horrible weather up into here. What are you talking about?
It hasn't been stifling, so I'm all right with that.
Okay, you're into the stifling thing.
Well,
all right, got it.
And we are also here with Ilion Mayor-elect John Stevens, and he is also Herkimer County Legislator John Stevens. So wearing two hats,
Yep.
Which really brings us right down to the first question that I have for you. How will that work? Are you allowed to do both? Is it legal?
Yes.
I'm sure you've had this question.
Yes, I've had it. I've had it cleared through my personal attorney, the county attorney. Legally, it can be done. It is done quite often in the North Country, Franklin, Essex County, Lake Placid, Saranac Lake. They serve on the Board of Supervisors, which is comparable to the legislature. And a lot of them are also village elected officials. The only thing I really can't do is if there's a, anything that deals with each other.
Right.
I have to recuse myself if it's for money or things like that. I'd have to recuse myself from voting on that if it was to promote one or the other. But other than that, legally, it can be done.
Okay,
yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
I assumed you had done your research.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
yeah. I've been questioned on that many times.
I would bet.
Yeah.
I would bet.
And I'm not quite sure. I've got 18 months left in my legislative term. Everybody says, "Are you staying? Are you going?" I said, "I don't know. I haven't even taken office yet as the mayor. Give me, I got till next year to figure that out.
Yeah.
I got other stuff to worry about. So
Yeah,
I'll make that decision when the time comes.
Figure out the balance
Yeah.
once you get
Yeah.
in there.
Yep.
That makes sense.
So
Do you think it's going to at all negatively impact your constituents in terms of the legislature?
no, actually, I think it'll benefit both because I have the I have the knowledge on both sides of the fence. Where if something's coming from the county side towards the village, I'm obviously going to know about it, and vice versa. If I have to go back to the county with something from the village to the county, I'm going to know both sides of it. So I think that's an advantage for the constituents. A lot of people are under. Sometimes they're confused on how a legislator actually works. We are assigned districts within the county, but we represent the county as a whole. I don't just represent District 6 or the Village of Ilion. I represent Herkimer County as a whole. I do what's best for the county. Obviously, sometimes that I might even vote against something that would benefit the district, but not the entire county as a whole. So
it's the bigger picture.
Yeah, the bigger picture at the county level. Some people don't understand. Well, you're still in the Village of Ilion. Well, yes, but I represent the county as a whole for the District 6 in the village.
Right. Okay. So that's good. I'm glad that you're clarifying that.
Yeah.
Thank you. So this is not your first run as a mayor. So
No,
you've done this before.
Stevens 2.0, I'm calling it.
Yeah, I like it. The reboot.
Exactly.
What years were you mayor first?
I was mayor from June of 2010 until January of 14. I did leave 6 months early. Len Hendricks was my predecessor at the county. He asked me to run. He was retiring after 38 years, I believe, as a county legislator. I've known Len since I was a very little kid. His son Scott and I are very good friends. He asked me. I was honored that he asked me. I thought about it, talked it over with my wife and my kids, and I said, all right, I'll give it a try. I won, realizing that I should probably. It was a conflict, and I've said this, and I've been called to the table on this. Well, you said it was a conflict. It was with me, not legally, with me, with my head and my heart. I said, look, I'm going to have to learn a whole new form of government at the county level. It's a whole different animal than the village. I said, I can't. At that point, I didn't think I could donate or give the proper time to both. So I decided to step down from my mayor term 6 months ahead of time to learn how county government runs. I've been there I'm in my 9th year. I know how both run. I believe that I can do both justice, and that's the way I'm going to go at this point.
Great. Well, I'm really glad you're here to clarify everything for us. So
I'm glad you're asking because, sometimes people just, in the world of social media, things go and they take on their own life and they go crazy. And
politics is so different. Even I've learned in my own position, which is nothing. I mean, it's not county. I'm not
right.
And people do have that misconception about
because it says Herkimer County Chamber of Commerce.
But we are not employees of the county. So, if Michele Hummel says, "Well, gee, maybe I can bully him into doing it," I'm only joking. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm just joking. But you can't use that language.
No, and I just said
I wouldn't have known you were joking.
Dave, be quiet over there.
Sorry. I said to somebody the other day, I can't remember because now the interviews are all starting to run together. I believe it was on Talk of the Town that they asked me, and I said, look, it's to the point in this world now where you can't even disagree with someone. Then you're all of a sudden you're a bully, you're mean, you're offensive. I disagree with people every day. They disagree with me. I don't. That's to me, that's what makes the world go round and makes you make a good decision. Not everybody should agree.
Right.
We'd never get anywhere.
We need a balance.
Exactly.
And it doesn't mean that, people hate each other. You shouldn't turn to that just because you disagree.
I've had knockdown dragouts and probably about every, see, that's not even the right way to say it. I've had disagreements.
No. We understand.
With probably in every organization I've belonged to or been in charge of. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to go buy you a beer when we're done. It's just we don't agree. And, if you can change my mind, that's great. If I can change yours, that's great too. Or maybe we won't. We'll just continue to have our separate views. But, there's very few people that I've ever served with that I don't speak with. There's probably a couple, but I can't name them off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
So, we have some heated debates at the legislative level. That's great. I love it. My wife says I thrive on that stuff, and I can't disagree with her on that because that's the way I've been born. I was raised that way.
You need to be wired a certain way to be in that position.
And I don't take offense to people getting at me, if, as long as you don't get personal, and you can even get personal with me, just don't bring my family into it. Don't bring my wife and my kid. They haven't got nothing to do with this. My wife would rather I didn't do this.
I'm sure.
So, but I don't have an issue with disagreements or different point of views. To me, that's what makes you make a better decision. It makes you a better elected official. I don't like to use politician because I'm not a politician. I just hold a political office.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what I think. I don't tell you what you want to hear.
I
sometimes that gets me in trouble, and it always has, but I'm too old to change now.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
This is the information we have to tell you. You might not like it, but it's the truth.
Right.
So that I prefer honesty any day of the week.
So
that's great. So your running mates, Mike Conover and Carrie Allen.
Yes.
I think they're both great running mates.
Yep.
What kind of brought that conversation together?
Well,
to have the three of you team up.
Here's something else that I'll clear up for you. We didn't run as running mates.
Okay.
We just happened to be running on the same Republican ticket. Now, did we sit down together and discuss things? Absolutely. And we actually had the discussion that we would be better off not running together, because what I learned when I first started this was if I run with someone, I might lose votes because they don't like that person, or they might lose votes because they don't like me. So that while it ended up that we were obviously very close. We all had pretty much the same support. If you were in Ilion, you saw our signs were all basically together. We had some that were in different
photos
places.
on social media together.
Yeah. So, we went to different events together. But we all had different, we had some of the same agenda. We also all had differing agendas as well. So, Carrie was very, very, she ran very, I don't even know the right word. She was hepped up on, and still is, on vacant and abandoned properties in the village. Great. That's definitely an issue. And I told her, have at it, run with it. You do that. That takes one more thing off of anybody else's plate. Go for it. Mine, actually, the three of us, we know the biggest issue in the village is the water. We know that. As there's been improvements started, we know that. But I think that with the contacts that I've made at both the local and the county and federal and state levels, maybe I can move this quicker. Street conditions are terrible. We know that. But there's no sense, and I've been saying this right along, there's no reason for the village taxpayer to dump, just for rough figure, and this is just to make ease of, there's no reason to dump $1 million into village streets when we're going to tear them up next year to put new water lines in.
Right.
That's just a waste of money. I know it sucks. You're slamming into potholes all the time. Be good for a couple more years till we get this water main project done. And then the roads are going to get paved anyways, because they're going to dig them up. Part of the project is to pave the streets that you dig up. Why would we dump money into them now for a year and a half, 2 years, and then dig it all up and redo them again?
That makes perfect sense. And it's so important to get that message out.
Right.
Not everyone attends a village meeting for various reasons.
Well, and you know what? Michelle, it's to the point. I think that people don't attend any type of legislative village town. With social media, I think they get a lot of their information off of that, which sometimes is good. to me, most of the time is bad. But, going down that road, there's roughly 8,000 people in the village, might be a little bit less, a little bit more. I'm not positive anymore. I think it's a little less, but 8,000 is an easy round number to remember. Out of that, you've probably got 4,000 registered voters. 600 people voted in this last election.
Yeah.
That's disappointing even to me. And I won. And that's disappointing, because I've always said the larger the number, the better off I felt, whatever way it went. I'd much rather see 1,500 to 2,000 people out voting, because there's at least that many that are out there complaining.
Oh, they are. Yeah.
So I started asking the question when I was out getting signatures and out doing campaign events. Are you registered to vote? No. Then I'm sorry, this might sound mean, but I can't, I can't. If you're registered to vote and you vote, then you've got a voice. If you're not registered to vote, your voice is almost moot to me. It's just, it's you can't complain, but not do something to change the way things are.
Times have changed. When we were young, when I was young, it was such a privilege and an honor to register yourself to vote.
Yeah.
We talked about it in high school. We did, it was like what you did right after your birthday. Yep. You just went to register.
You're 18, you're voted to register to vote. Absolutely.
I've had 2 other children go through Ilion schools. Well, CVA.
CVA.
Yes, CVA.
I'm familiar now.
That
was a long time ago.
Right. Me too. So, when my daughter is on her, she's going through, she's 16, she's in 10th grade. She just loves it if I bring her up. So I'm joking. Believe me, I'm joking here.
That was with sarcasm, right?
Yeah,
it was sarcasm.
Total sarcasm.
I knew you were.
Yeah. But I just don't think that they talk about it the way they used to. And I wish that they would. Yeah, I really do. Just to kind of bring back the honor behind it. It's our right, and not everybody has that right.
Right, exactly. And as I say, my dad my dad has a twin brother. Obviously, my uncle and both of my younger brothers served this country. My dad and my uncle for 42 years. My brothers did their 4 years and got out and got jobs. But one of my grandfathers was a veteran. He's passed away since, but they fought for our right to be able to vote and be able to speak our minds. I know this is going to be probably a comment that should.
Here he goes.
I'm with you.
We're not going to edit
it. The Second Amendment. They allowed us to have a gun. So that's the way I operate. That's how I feel. I was raised in a military household. My dad, everything, bang, 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 it was strict. I sat at the same spot at our kitchen table until the day I moved out of my parents' house. And I can tell you exactly where the rest of us all sat.
Yeah.
It's just the way it was. My dad said something to us. You didn't disagree with him. You did it, even if you didn't agree. And later on, you said, hey, Dad, maybe we should have done it this way, but don't ever tell them no.
Right.
Because then you got the over the glasses look, or the paper corner came down and he glared at you.
I've seen that
And I'm fortunate that both of my parents are still here. They're relatively young. They're 75. Boy,
that's young.
Yeah. Well, it is nowadays,
Yeah.
So, they're both still with me, and, I talk to them quite often. I still get advice from them. But I was brought up in that regimented way of, you're up at the same time every morning. You ate dinner at the same time every night. I don't know. I think I turned out halfway decent. There might be people that disagree with me, but that's all right. My wife might be one of them. I don't know at times. So, to be able to voice your opinion, to be able, to be able to live in this country, even now when it's a little difficult right now in this country, things are a little bit hectic. There's a lot of stuff going on that, everybody says, hey, did you see this on the news? I was like, I got too much stuff going on at the local level. I know I should pay attention to it, but it's tough. There's a lot going on here.
There is,
and while I hear it in the background, I don't pay attention to a lot of it. And will it affect us eventually? Will it trickle down? Yeah. And when it does, then I'll deal with it. But for right now, there's stuff going on here that needs the attention immediately. So
Most definitely. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I always, in terms of the rights to vote, I just want to give Carrie Allen a shout out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
One woman to another,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many meetings I'm in where I am the only female. So good for her.
I've known Carrie many, many years when, and this will probably go back to what we originally started talking about. I got off on a tangent there. But when Mike and Carrie and I all expressed interest in, I said, okay, let's the three of us get together and discuss this. Obviously, Mike had a controversy going on,
right?
And Carrie had never been involved in she served under my first term. She was our recreation director on our rec commission. She was the chairman of our recreation commission. So she handled the summer program and trips to the skating rinks and skiing trips and stuff like that. So that was her exposure to the village. But knowing Carrie as long as I've known her, she has such a financial background with what she's done for a living for many, many years that when she said, yeah, I'm interested, I said, oh, great. Absolutely phenomenal. Get her on board. As you know, Carrie, she's very upfront. We're a lot alike in that way. She's going to tell you what she thinks. And then, prove her wrong. But she's going to be my second set of eyes. I'll announce this. Here's your breaking news story.
Oh, we got breaking news.
We've got a scoop.
Yeah, you got a scoop. Carrie will be appointed as my deputy mayor on July 5th.
Wonderful.
So,
congratulations, Carrie.
I'll put that out there. Tuesday, July 5th is our swearing in. I will put that out there that's the position. She will be named that on July 25th. So, and it's not for any particular reason. It's just that I feel comfortable that if I'm not here, with her financial background and what she's done for a living, if I have to go away for something or I can't make a meeting, I'm perfectly comfortable with her running it. And I'm sure I'm comfortable with the other three of them as well. But it just seemed the right thing to do at the moment. And she said, sure. So that's where we're going to go with that.
Good. If you could, just for our listeners' sake, who are the other three? I'm
the mayor. Carrie will be a trustee, be the deputy mayor in my absence. Mike Conover is a trustee. Dave Verdula is a remaining. He's a carryover. He's got 2 more years left in his term, and Mike Emmerich has 2 years left in his term. So that's the 5 village board members.
Good group of people.
I've personally sat and spoke with everybody. Matter of fact, Dave and Mike Emmerich and I gotta clarify because there's 2 Mikes now. Mike E, I'm going to call him, and Mike C. We sat on my back porch for 3 hours last night. This is what we're looking for. I might do things a little different than the previous administration. But I think we're all going in the same direction. By the time we were done, it was a great 3-hour chat, and it was nice to just sit out there. I'm not in office yet, so it wasn't any type of illegal meeting or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It was just those 2 guys and I, them telling me where they were at in their terms and what was going on, and me telling them, look, this is the way I want to go. And then, can we go all in, can the 5 of us go in the same direction? Not always. No, like I said before, I don't expect that. But the job as the mayor is to guide the village in a positive direction. So, but I've spoken with all 4 of them. I'm very excited to get going. Very excited to get going.
Great. So, well, you know what? Actually, on that note, we're going to break for just a minute.
Perfect.
If everyone stay tuned, we'll be back in about 1 minute with more from Mayor-elect John Stevens.
Visit My Little Falls and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the city and the area. Our mission is to generate interest in the community and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes Store, listen to our country music streaming radio station, or sign up for a weekly newsletter. Stop by today at mylittlefalls.com. You'll be glad you did.
And welcome back, everyone. Michele Hummel with the Herkimer County Chamber of Commerce with Mayor-elect John Stevens and also Herkimer County Legislator John
That gets
Stevens.
to be a mouthful after a while.
It does, yeah. I can't spit it all out.
We should shorten that like he did, the
Jim
monkey
Bono, Jim Bono started calling me the Mayor Slater.
I like
I was
it.
like, okay,
I like it.
I guess that works.
I think that's got legs. So going back to social media and things, we see there were obviously some controversy under the last thing. I didn't want to come right out and start with the fire department.
No, that's fine.
Because in my, what's done is done. We need to move forward.
Correct.
There is a Facebook group out there right now called Village of Ilion Constituents. And I just, when I see groups like that, I'm leery because I want to say, it should say some Village of Ilion Constituents because their voice is not speaking on behalf of everyone.
And that's really one person driving that.
Yeah.
That's just, I take that with a grain of salt.
Exactly. But, I think that there is a push right now to try to keep that flame alive, which might not be in the best interest of anyone.
Right.
I'm always a big, let's close the chapter girl and move forward.
Yep.
So do you want to tell us what your thoughts are on that?
For starters, I'll tell you folks and the folks listening, the same thing I've told all the other interviews that I've done. I have not personally read the leaked report. I personally don't agree with that being sent out to the public. I think there's going to be some legal issues with that. Again, I'll end up dealing with those if I have to. I haven't read the report because of that reason. What do they call it? Plausible deniability. Okay. I don't have to say, no, I haven't seen it because I haven't seen it. Mm-hmm. If I have to read it for some sort of legal issue or a lawsuit or something like that, well, then I guess I'll have to read it. But some of the stuff in there, I guess, is pretty defaming. I believe that the folks that made statements were under the impression that they would never be seen. It wouldn't be public knowledge. Mike and Tom Peterson, the chief that retired as well, they both signed non-disclosure agreements, as did the Village of Ilion. The mayor signed a non-disclosure agreement on behalf of the entire board that this would be confidential, would never be discussed. No wrongdoing on either party. Let's move on. They're both going to retire. Thank you very much, and go on about our business. Now, obviously, it was foiled. It was foiled by Mike because he was sick and tired of hearing people tell him, well, you can sign a piece of paper and talk about this. And Mike's like, I've never been offered anything to sign other than the non-disclosure. So I'm, in Mike's defense, he probably was sick and tired of hearing it, and he foiled it, never expecting, never, because he told me what he did, never expecting to get it. And it showed up in his mailbox one day, and he was like, "Oh,
yeah,
wow." Well, then
be careful what you ask for, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm pretty sure the folks at the firehouse that made statements are probably a little upset that that's out there.
I've read through it. I'll be honest; it is defaming.
But
I feel bad for all.
One thing you haven't read is anything from Mike Conover.
That's correct.
Because he was never asked to make a statement. So you're getting one side. We all know that there's this side, that side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. We all know that. We've lived that way our entire lives. So the individual that's out there pushing this, while some people see it, he doesn't have a huge following. If you look at it, I guess, my wife dwells on this stuff and she drives herself nuts, and I tell her, don't look at it. I can't help it.
Look away.
I can't help it.
They don't listen.
No, sometimes. They probably don't listen any more to us than we do to them. So that's probably why we've been married for so long. I got 34 years coming up Saturday. So, there's not a huge, there's not 700 people liking and commenting or anything like that. So I just keep telling Mike, just move on.
Yeah.
And I've told all four of them, look, there's obviously going to be this elephant in the room for a little bit, until we get familiar with each other. But you know what? In a month or two, something else will come along that people will focus on, and they'll go bashing on them.
Yeah,
it's just the way it works.
It's a shame.
So, but we've got a lot of stuff to do, and we've got a lot of projects coming up, and there's just too much going on to dwell on what happened in the past. I know there's hard feelings out there. I'll deal with that the best I can. and try to be a mediator in that. And well, actually I have to deal.
Yeah.
I have to be the mediator in that because that's what we need to do. It's got to be let go.
Okay,
it's done.
so
It's over with.
Aside from hard feelings, is there anything legal that's continuing to this day?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so that's all I need to hear.
Not that I'm aware of.
As someone who is a
If something legally comes from having that investigation released, well, then I'll deal with it. But as of right now, everything was done. It was closed. End of story.
Right. So let's move forward, onward and upward.
That was 6 months ago. Let's go.
So you talked about water being kind of the first priority. Do you have a second, third, fourth kind of number of things that you're looking at?
Thanks, Dave, for getting me back into where I belong.
I had to ask the question.
I'm trying to get you out of the firehouse.
That's okay. Yeah. We the water obviously is one. Transparency is number two. Michele knows this. We have, even at the county level, the public can come in and speak. They sign up, they can get their 3 or 5 minutes, but we don't engage the public at the county level. It's called public comment. It's not called public engagement or public debate. So we let somebody, we let people come in and
I've done it.
They might, exactly. Yeah. But there might be people from the public that come in and bash us. Well, it's hard for me to sit there and tell, and listen to somebody tell me, you're no good. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. But we don't engage them. The taxpayer, to me, put me here in this position, either as the legislator or as the mayor. They have the right to speak. Now, in the past few years, people have tried to speak and have been shut down because the mayor didn't like what was being said. I don't agree with that. I might not agree with what you're saying, but you're still going to get your time. Again, if you have something and I want to talk to you about that, or you want to continue on after your time allotment is up, I'll give you my card. Here's my email, my phone, however you want to, I'll be glad to sit down and talk with people one-on-one. I have no issue with doing that. So that's the transparency part that I'm talking about. It's just let the public speak. They're allowed to speak their mind, and I believe in that. 3, we've had a pretty large exodus of employees in the village. The village employs roughly 80 people full time. That might be full and part time. We'll use 80 for a round number. In the last 4 years, 56 people have left employ of the village of Ilion. Wow! So that's 2/3 of your staff. That's new.
Wow, that's
so
a lot. My mouth just dropped.
Right, and I called and I brought that to attention on a different show, on a different interview, and Brian Lamica, the former, he's the mayor that's leaving. He called right up on the show and told me I was wrong. My numbers were incorrect. Most of those were retirements. I said, "Oh, that's fine, Brian. I didn't say that they hadn't retired. I said that they had left."
Leaving, yeah.
Okay. So I said, and I have it in black and white from your approved board minutes. I went through because I do my research, and I went from 2018, and I believe it was till April of this year, and I went through all the board minutes, and there's a section personnel. With regrets, we accept the resignation or retirement of employee Smith. Put them all down, what department they were with, how they, when they left. Out of the 56 that left, 17 retired. The others resigned. Why?
It's still a high volume.
Why? So Mike and Carrie and I sat down and we said, look, we have to figure out why. We have to implement a plan to change that, or make a plan and then implement that plan to get people to want to come back to work in the village.
Those used to be coveted positions.
Absolutely.
It's like popehood.
You just read my mind. That was my next statement. People wanted to work there. You couldn't get in the fire department. You couldn't get in the police department, the DPW, the water, the light. You couldn't get in because people wanted those jobs. And when they had them, they stayed and retired from there. Why all of a sudden is there the change? I don't know. I'm going to find out, but I don't know. I have an idea, but I'm not going to state my idea because I don't know if it's true or not.
A lot of villages and all are dealing with pay issues where they can't keep up.
Yep,
and that's typically the biggest thing.
And lack of employees isn't just at the village of Ilion level.
It's
we
everywhere.
see it at the county. You see it, it's nationwide, and I get that. But what do we have to do as a village to get people to want to work in the village again? Is it a pay thing? I don't think so.
I think it might. Yeah, you're right. I see where you're going with this. And I think people would prefer to not have drama in their lives.
Correct.
A lot of folks.
Correct.
So, you know, I'm not saying that's the reason, but
no,
but
I'm going down that road.
Well, because, you know, honestly, as somebody who lives in the village of Ilion, I could see that playing a factor.
Yep. So, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to read my paper in my head here. That's 4 or 5 codes, quality of life issues. You know, we've got a full-time codes enforcer finally. Let's jump on that. I'm going to meet with his name is Jim Maxwell. I'm going to meet with him and our village justice, Audrey Dunning, and I'm going to say, okay, we got to set a plan here. You know, we've got to hold these people accountable. If Jim brings a ticket to the court for I don't know, high grass, that's probably most of his complaints.
It's a common one.
Yeah, exactly. People don't mow their lawns, or they're absentee landlords and they don't take care of their properties. You know, Audrey, can you support us in finding, or, you know, holding that ticket accountable? You know, let's figure that out. You know, just general quality of life. You know, you come into the village, as I say, from the 4 directions, north, south, east, and west. There's some property every way you come into our village on the main directions that's just beat up. It just doesn't look good. And that's not what I want to portray when you're coming into the village. You want nice homes. I understand people, and especially now with finances and stuff, I understand it's tough, but let's see what we can do to help those folks. You know, they might be elderly. I can't afford to paint my house. Well, you know, I had a program started the last time that never came to fruition, where I had Home Depot and Lowe's ready, shameless plug, as we say that.
Yeah, you can do that.
That we're going to donate damaged paint. You know, if the cans were dented or something,
oh.
And you mix it all together, and it always comes out beige. I don't care what colors you put in there, it comes out beige. You know, and you know.
But I'm sorry, you're wrong. It would be for females. It would be taupe.
Taupe. Okay, good point.
Sorry, it's beige is a man word.
That could be
right.
One of those many
something.
shades.
It was off white there. How's that? And you know, and we were going to set up a program to help people like that. The Boy Scouts were willing to help until we found out that they can't go any higher than a stepladder. Well, that doesn't do any good for a 2-story house. So that kind of failed, but you know, that idea is still in my head.
The spirit is there.
Yeah. You know, that, so quality of life stuff, I think we're going to get on that pretty good. Shared services is a huge thing in my mind. It was big for me last time. I've spoken with Mayor-elect Sherry. I've spoken with Mayor Barron and Mayor Adams from Mohawk and Frankfurt, respectively. There's some ideas out there that I think we can start. We can't survive on our own anymore. We can't survive on 5 or 6 different municipalities. I haven't spoken with Mayor Blask yet. I will, you know, see what we can do.
Well, you already borrowed the fire chief and all of that.
For a little while.
Senate treasurer over for a little bit. Yeah. So you've done that once already.
Friendly.
And you know, and I'm very familiar with. I don't know if you know this, Dave, but I retired from the fire department here.
I did.
So
okay,
from here in Little Falls. Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it was a lot earlier than I wanted to retire, but I got hurt and was medically retired. So
it still shows.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does. No. I know Rob very well, Chief Parise. We started together, but that's one of the areas we can look at. You know, in 2013, there was a 6-department study with 6 fire departments: Frankfurt, Ilion, Mohawk, Herkimer, East Herkimer, Little Falls, to see how, if we could be more effective doing it together. Obviously, you can. Back in 2013, if we'd have gone to a completely career department with all paid personnel in those 6 districts, it would have been like 120 firefighters and officers on the job, and it would have cost us all $200 a year. You pay more than that for your taxes just in the village of Ilion for the firehouse.
Let's talk about that offline.
Well, you know, it's funny, Michelle, because I got to pay the same taxes. So, you know, people say, "Oh, you raise taxes 2%." I said, yeah, I know. I got to pay for them too.
Everybody does. You know, that's one thing I will say. The people are really the heart, and we talk about the secret sauce in Little Falls, where they're doing so many things with so many. I mean, it's the city of festivals, and it really starts with the people.
Absolutely,
and getting people in a room and saying, "Look, we're not here to complain about our taxes or to complain that your fire hydrant didn't get painted," as I quote Chris Cochran, our friend, who was doing the same thing in Herkimer. But, you know, I think that's the spirit that needs to start overcoming what we've done in the past. And if we just continue to force positivity, so to speak. Yeah,
absolutely.
And just, cram it down everybody's throat. It's going to
move ahead in a positive
contagious
manner. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. And pretty much one of the last things that I was campaigning on was our activities for our kids, recreation. Our recreation department has pretty much gone away. Jackie Moore has the food truck, but that's not really kid oriented, but that's village oriented. And I'm, I'll sit down and talk with Jackie and see if there's, can we improve on things? What can we do different? If, blah, blah, blah. Under my previous administration, the skating rink in the winter went away for lack of use.
Yeah, I missed that. Well, how could it be
lack of use? We had 17 kids the year that I quit doing it. 17 children used it the whole year. And it wasn't because there wasn't one. It wasn't weather related. It was just 17 kids because the world runs around.
Yeah, put down
technology.
The phone.
Put the phone down.
But you look at what happened here.
Absolutely.
The skating rink here, it was used all the time.
Crazy. Yep.
It should be the same.
It might just be, maybe it would be helpful to have a marketing strategy
Absolutely.
Surrounding it.
Yep. Yep. And I'm putting Carrie Allen is going to be the liaison to the rec commission because she's familiar with it for starters. And she's a go-getter. So she's going to move this forward. Whether it's, bringing the skating rink back, which Dave probably knows when I say this, but I've been on the show with Scott and him on the hockey side of things. Sure. I played hockey since I was 4. I played 2 years in college. I hate not having a skating rink. I hate it. It drives me crazy, because I used to load up my little red sled and drag it down from North 4th Ave down to Elm Street. And when we were done playing after 4 hours, I still had to drag it back up the hill home. That was the worst part of the whole day because my parents weren't going to come and pick me up. Nobody did. You walked.
We were all on Elm Street.
You walked. That's how you got around the village. Or in the summer, you rode your bike. You knew where everybody was, but I had 8 bikes out front. Oh, everybody's there. I'm going there. But, things like that. Obviously, we don't have the pool. That was removed. I wasn't the mayor. I was a trustee at that point. But I think that was probably a good move. It was $1 million a year just in maintenance. It was leaking, we were trying to fix it and the liability just went up. We couldn't get people for lifeguards.
And high school really could use the parking area.
Yeah. But a lot of people have their own pools now. It got to be where there was 50 kids a day in the pool when there used to be 500, because we were all at my buddy Tom's house. We were all swimming at his house. We didn't go down to the pool. I went around the corner and jumped in my buddy's pool. So, but to bring that back, get a program going. There's plenty of playgrounds in the village Ilion for these kids. I had a lady getting in my face last time. You don't give the kids anything to do. Well, that's not my job.
Right.
You're giving your child something to do isn't my job. I gave the facilities are there for them to do. The problem with a lot of younger people nowadays is they don't know how to play. They don't know how to go out and play. They know how to play on this thing or on their laptop or their desktop. I'm telling you, 7:30 in the morning. I grew up on North 4th Ave, right around the corner from Montgomery Street Playground. My mother could get on the back porch and yell for us to come home for dinner.
It was back
we went
then.
home for dinner, and if dinner was at 5:00 and we were done by 5:30, we went back out until the streetlights came on.
Yeah, everybody did.
Nobody does that anymore.
No, they don't.
We played wiffle ball. We played ball hockey. We'd take our snow blowers down there in the winter and snow blow the tennis courts so we could play hockey on the tennis courts. We played baseball with a wiffle ball or a tennis ball so we didn't break windows. We played football, sometimes tackle, sometimes touch. Supposed to be touch, might be tackle. Who knows? But we knew you played kick the can. You played manhunt,
hide and seek,
hide and seek, but say it, played war. You played war. You did. Yeah, you did. But you don't see that anymore. Even my own children, they're grown. They're 31 and 33 years old. They're married. Well, one's married with my granddaughter. My son lives in Charlotte. They didn't know how to do that. Well, because, and I blame this. I tell my wife, we're to blame for some of this because we gave them better than we had, which is supposed to be that way. But my kids both had cars in high school that they paid for. I insured them.
That's the big cost.
Yeah. My dad worked at Remington for 38 years. He was the only income in the household. I had myself, my sister, and 2 brothers. So it was 4 of us. Our vacation was going camping in a pop-up trailer with 6 people and a dog. My kids' vacation was Disney.
Very different.
It's just different. And I get that, but there's no reason they can't go back to having a good time in the area South Fifth Ave is huge.
Mhm.
Montgomery Street, Elm Street's getting used. The schools are very good about letting you use their facilities. So, I don't need to give your child a reason to play or something to do. Make them go do it.
You need to do it. And and you see out to dinner sometimes, it's not just the kids on the phone, it's also the parents.
I'm guilty.
We're
I'm
all
guilty.
yeah.
I find myself looking at it going, I'm with my wife eating dinner. What am I looking at that stupid thing for?
Yeah.
Make that rule to where you can't use the
I've started
phone
leaving
during
it in the truck. I've started leaving it in the
That's a
vehicle.
good idea.
You know?
We've had times where our whole family will get together and we'll actually pass a basket around
Yep,
and
put 'em
everybody
in
has
there.
to. Now, don't get me wrong. I know those teenagers are going back after the basket when nobody's looking, but
Oh,
hey,
absolutely.
it's an effort.
Yeah.
So
It's better than other things they could be doing, I guess.
True. Very true.
So
Just makes you a basket case, Michelle.
oh, well,
Perfect.
I've been called that too, I'm sure.
I've been called worse.
Yeah, story of my life.
Yeah.
But well, anyway, so as we draw to a close
Yep.
here, are there any parting thoughts or anything you want to say to the village of Ilion?
Yeah. Just be patient. There's going to be a changeover. Obviously, there's going to be a transition. There's going to be, there might be a month or two where it looks like nothing's going on. Well, I'm very fortunate that, again, this is time 2 for me. I got a general idea, but things have changed in 9 years too.
Mhm.
There's different contracts, different employees. I used to know everybody's name, everybody's wife's name, their kids' names. I see police officers go by in the street now and I look and I go, I wonder if that 12-year-old's mother knows he's out playing cop.
I know.
Because they look so young.
They do. The older I get, I don't know what.
It's like, holy moly. And quite honestly, and I love this. I support this 100%. But we have a female firefighter in the village. It's a career firefighter, Mary View to me. I know that's not her married name. That's not her married name, and I'm not going to butcher the married name because I'll forget it. And we have 2 or 3 female police officers. Well, the only female police officer I ever dealt with was Captain Duvall, Lori.
Mm-hmm.
So that's different for me, and I love it. I think it's great. I have no issues with that. I think they can all do the job. As a career firefighter, everybody says, "Well, female, could she come in and get you out if she has to?" Well, all the ones I've seen can.
Yeah.
My daughter's a volunteer firefighter. She's 3rd generation in our family. Yeah, I don't have an issue. I've seen my daughter do things better than some guys. It's just because she's born and raised around it. It's just second nature to her. So there's that issue. I see a whole lot of positive going on and going forward. And that's what I'm going to dwell on. This needs to be the bitterness and the nitpicking and the backdoor stuff I'm just not going to pay attention to it.
That's
if you think
good.
you're going to get a rise out of me with that, it's not going to happen. We got things to do. We got a lot of things to do, and they're all good for the village. They're good for the tax and the ratepayers, and it's going to benefit the village of Ilion in the long run, and we're going to do it.
Yeah, now is the time,
Yep.
guys. We pull together, be positive. Let's close one chapter and start
Move
anew.
on.
So,
Yep.
well, I want to thank you so
Well,
much.
thanks for having me. It's
I'm
been
sure
great.
we'll have you on again, and we really thank you
I don't
for
mind
joining
doing
us.
this stuff. So anytime you want me and you need something to talk about, let me know.
Great.
I'll figure something
He's a
out.
natural by now, so thank goodness. All right. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thanks.
And to everybody else listening, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. And if you have any questions or thoughts, topics, ideas, please call us at the chamber at 315-866-7820. Have a great day, everybody.